It's the morning before the big snow's going to hit. We're at the high temperature for the day, which is like 25 degrees right now. And we're progressively on our way to the next 48, 24 hours down to -3 is our predicted low. I'm just going to show you a few little things that we do on the homestead to be ready for such periods of time. We typically keep a big water bucket here. Well, it's going to go upside down for the duration. There's no sense in breaking our water buckets because of the cold, so they can just be upside down and draining. One thing we need to do before winter hits completely is pick up the yard, and as you can see, this is a good example. So I'm going to pick this stuff up and get it stacked up out of the yard so it doesn't be buried in the snow. Here is a homestead fail. Our hose is still strung out today. Ideally, that needs to be drained, rolled up, put in the garage. And we're going to have to wait now for the next warm day to get that done. We take our hoses in the wintertime. I don't use them at all. I have got things down now to a point to where it makes keeping water for the animals relatively easy, and that's what I try to do. I've got the 2 city bitties here, and as you can see, I installed a little awning, and all I did to accomplish that is I put some little eye ringers at the top, and we're going to run a tarp up through there, and then the tarp's pinned down. And the purpose of that is in the wintertime, get out of the way, dog, come on. In the wintertime we get a lot of like driving rain and snow, and that just keeps it out of the doorway, and it also gives them another place to shelter if it's really nasty out, so that they can still go outside, but they have a little bit of extra shelter. And I did a similar thing on this side. I have to go around to show you because Our prevailing wind is from the north and west, so this leaves them a west sheltered by the house and the north sheltered by the little awning, so they have a nice place to go in, and it keeps this, like I said, the snow and the rain off of their coop door. Basically, it's a little mobile ark, very simple, and it's a chicken wire, completely coated with chicken wire, and then it has these little panels, light panels over the top of it. Well, I've moved it to the behind the house here because the house faces north, so this is the south side of the house. It's out of the ways a little bit so the chickens have a little bit of space to move. The west wind, which is a real hard blow for us, will face this side. And then inside, see, I've got, here they are in here enjoying it. But I put some alfalfa hay, a couple of flakes of real good alfalfa in there. And typically in the wintertime, I'll feed them in this little sheltered area. I'll just toss the feed out because then they go in there and they scratch and they play and they can shelter from the rain or anything. There's an entrance at this end. And there's an entrance at this end so they can get in and out as they want to. And as you see, these are my little pullets, and they are just coming to the point of lay. As for watering the chickens, right here by my back door, in this mud mess, you see a little black bowl, and that is a bowl, I think it's a Duraflex rubber bowl. It's 100% natural rubber. If it freezes, you just beat it and ice comes out. I keep water in there. As you see, the dog will get a little drink every now and then, but the chickens get a drink. And my whole thing I have to do to keep my chickens watered in the wintertime is I come out here a couple of times a day, pour a little bit of warm water in that, and make sure it's free of ice, since it's right up against the south of the house in a sheltered area. It gets sun when there's a sunny day. It's protected so it doesn't freeze as fast, but it's also very easy to just keep them some liquid water, and that way I let the chickens come to the water and not the water come to the chickens. To me, it's just easier. I have a couple of gallon jugs filled full of hot water. You want to be sure with chickens, especially other poultry, not to give them really hot water, because you can actually scald their crop, and if it's scalded, it will be scarred and they won't be able to digest food, or it can be very, very serious or actually fatal. So, be sure that you don't do that. But you want water, like I said, nice warm water. So I keep them some nice warm water all day long. At night, after I put the chickens in the coop to bed tonight, I will turn this water bowl over, dump it out. That way they don't have to break ice in the morning, and it works really well because chickens don't drink when they're asleep anyway. So the coop stays drier, they stay warmer, and all's well in the world. They're let out obviously early, first break in the morning, so they can start getting their groove on and getting moving. So that's my water for the chickens. In the winter time, the sheep water goes from being a half of a 50-gallon bucket, which you can see the blue right there, that's now got some watering cans in it, just for temporary storage, and it goes into a large Duraflex rubber tub, and it's, as you see, black, and it's sitting on an old tire. That keeps it up out of the snow. We have as much dark black rubber as possible because it gets a lot of solar gain. It'll keep it thawed amazingly well. Right now it's 25 degrees. I'm gonna show you my little break-in stick here. I have a nice board, and you can see it's a little slushy this morning, but we've still got liquid water. And the other secret to success for homesteading with a disability and to make your winter chores as easy as possible is reduce. Right now my flock is 3 sheep. I have 2 bred ewes, and I have 1 wether that is awaiting a processing date for the customer that purchased him in less than a week. So when he's gone, I will just have 2 bred ewes on the property. That's it. Maybe at some point in the future I may keep as many as 3 bred ewes, but that will be it. The reason I do that, I try to get rid of my ram if possible. I just sold my ram. I sold him this about 2 weeks ago. I will probably replace him with a new ram, like a first-year ram, in about September or October of this year. So I'm just gonna go as small of a flock as possible. As you can see, we have a lot of projects that didn't get finished yet. I've still got part of a shed roof to put on. We still have work to do to winterize this double wide coop, but we're starting to get things shut up and shut down and just closed down for winter. You want everything as clean as possible. Like I said, we still got a few things here and there that need picked up, and hopefully that's going to get done today before the snow really flies hard. We have, like I said, the minimum flock of sheep. The turkeys are in the coop today. I'll take you and show you those later. And again, they have an outside waterer that's now dumped over right now because they're not outside today, and they're not going to be outside today because we're expecting an ice storm followed by a snowstorm. So the turkeys are going to house inside today. The sheep can go in and out. Okay, here we are in the fold, the sheep pen. You can see we've got some brome hay down here. This is to act as bedding as well as for them to munch on. And here's my 2 bred ewes right there. There's a little bit of alfalfa in their bucket. And this is the lamb that's going to go to the processors on Tuesday. And you can see they're in here. I've got their door almost completely closed, so they've got a real nice place out of the wind. And then I've got hay bales stacked along this area, so that kind of gives them a little bit of protection too. And as we keep turning, this is my turkey pen, and I put a tarp up here just to kind of help knock a little of the wind away. And then this is my north door that's still not a door, but it's now tarped as well to help keep things a little bit nicer. I'm in here checking on the turkeys, and the first thing to check is water. Keep me a little bored here. Break a bucket. I'm going to top that up with some hot water. That'll help to melt that water and keep it liquid for longer. And you can see by the clock on the wall there, it's almost 30 in here, so it's quite a bit warmer. They're all sitting up on their up high perch. They really like it up there. They're turning into some pretty birds. That's the boy. Here's the girls. There's one more boy back there. I guess he's the... We're going to top up this feeder. I like to talk about homesteading head first, and it's still fairly manageable today, but I can top this feeder up now, and I won't have to carry all that feed out for the next few days. That'll probably last them probably 3 or 4 at least days, if not more. So that's eating extra because of the cold. So that's why I do that. Tomorrow or tonight I'll try to dump this water out and then tomorrow I'll just have to put more hot in it, and they can have water for the day again. So they're in here secure and safe and sound. Probably 8 or 9 o'clock now, and I'm still trying to batten down a few more hatches before it gets much worse. Right now the temperature has already dropped to 20 degrees, and wind chill says it feels like 13. So I'm gonna give my chickens a little treat here, and this is some meat scraps. Chicka, chicka, chick, 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 chick. Chicka, chick, 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 chick. Left over from butchering a deer the other day, and so I'm gonna give them these meat scraps to kind of give them a little bit of extra protein boost and help them to stay nice and warm. And you'll see they just love this. Yeah, it's singing with her. We regularly give our chickens leftovers, and like I said, I try to give them a little bit of extra protein, like the meat scraps and stuff, when it gets this cold out. You can see the Cornish rock there. She's starting to kind of suffer from the cold. She's having problems with her comb. And one of the things that's the secret to help that out, and it's just been her out wandering around the yard, but it's so cold, her comb is so big. But one of the secrets is spreading it with some Vaseline. And so yesterday I caught her and put Vaseline on her comb and her wattles to try to help her to survive this cold a little better. If you notice, most of my other chickens that I keep, I prefer chickens with rose combs or pea combs because they don't freeze. And that's one of the reasons I like that. That's one of the things I really like about these dark Cornish. You know, they are tough birds, they don't overheat, and they stand the cold real well too, so